Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to the first of a new video mini-series where I will be reflecting on the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's era of Doctor Who. So that's basically everything from 2018 through to 2022. Plus also her first scene in Twice Upon a Time, broadcast in 2017. So the majority of this video series will be building up to her final story, The Power of the Doctor, due to air sometime later this month. Rumours are speculating to be the 23rd of October 2022, but it is yet to be confirmed by the BBC at the time of recording on Friday the 7th of October 2022, which, funny enough, is 4 days to the date when her first episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, broadcast in 2018 on this exact day 4 years ago. How time flies, basically. This is how the mini-series is going to work out. We're starting off, as you may have read in the title, is the introduction video to this mini-series, which I'm electing to call Part 0. Not Part 1, Part 0, because technically this is the introduction and so forth. And hey, if Lupin the Third Part 6 can get away with doing this, then so can I. So this is Part 0, or Episode 0 of this miniseries. Actually, Doctor Who Redacted also did this. They had, well, it wasn't called Episode 0, but it was the introduction, and I decided to call that Episode 0. So this is Episode 0 of this miniseries. So yeah, please enjoy. And what we shall do is we will go through this reflection in the next couple of episodes. We'll do episode 1, or part 1, will be series 11 and resolution. Episode/part 2 will be series 12 and revolution of the Daleks. And part/episode 3 will be series 13, aka Flux, and also the first two of the 3 2022 specials, Eve of the Daleks and Legend of the Sea Devils. And then we will take a small break, and then after The Power of the Doctor airs, we will come back with part/episode 4, which will be exclusively on The Power of the Doctor and the ramifications it has on the era as it is. And then maybe if I feel up to re-listening to the Redacted series, I'll do an episode on that as well, separately. And then episode 5, or part 5, will be the conclusion. If I do the reacted one as well, that will become number 5, and then part/episode 6 will be the finale. So we're looking at a 6 or 7 episode video series, covering the 3 series of the Jodie Whittaker era, the 5 specials, including the Centenary special when it airs. And also this introduction is going to be number 0. Might do Doctor Who Redacted as well. Not going to do the books because I haven't read them, or any other expanded material, such as the Father Christmas cartoons mini Christmas special short, or the comics, or the lockdown message Jodie Whittaker did. Just the 30-odd episodes broadcast, or to be broadcast in the last one's case. I think it's 11 is 22, and then 9, I think 31 episodes. 30 at the moment, 31 when the last episode broadcasts. So we're just going to talk, plus the end of Twice Upon a Time, so 31 and a bit episodes. And if I feel up to doing it, Redacted as well, which is another 10 or 11, which is basically her full series. So yes, that's what we're looking at, a 6 or 7 video series. So as I mentioned, part 0 is this introduction and the appearance in Twice Upon a Time. Part 1, Series 11 and Resolution. Part 2, Series 12 and Revolution of the Daleks. Part 3, Flux, Series 13, and Eve of the Daleks and Legend of the Sea Devils. Small break, Part 4, the Centenary Special, The Power of the Doctor. And if I decide to do Redacted, that will be Part 5, and then the conclusion will be Part 6. If I decide not to do that, then we'll just go straight to the conclusion in Part 5. But yeah, so that's how this series is going to work out, and I'm basically just going to be discussing my feelings of the series as it is, outside of the individual episode reviews. But do check out the episode reviews of each story. I did reviews of each story as they broadcast, and in the case of series 11 and 12 and the first 2 specials, re-reviewed them, as well as the same for Twice Upon a Time as well. in those ones, in the re-reviews cases, to coincide with the marathon from the very beginnings of my reviews that I started with An Unearthly Child on the Retro channel before swapping to the main channel with the Peter Capaldi reviews. So if you want to know my opinions on each and every episode, both how I felt about them at the time, and in the case of the series 11 and 12 episodes, how I felt about them a few years later, then do check out those reviews. There will be playlists somewhere around here. Post Revolution of the Daleks, it's just one review per story. Some of them are on Universals, but there will be linked videos to those. And I will also review the Centenary Special, both on Universals, and I think I'm also going to do my own individual one a bit later on after that on this channel. So you'll get 2 reviews of the Centenary Special. One on Universals with other members. It'll be a joint review, and one individual on this channel, plus the reaction and maybe even a mini reaction YouTube short video. So there's going to be a lot of discussion about the Centenary Special after it airs. Mini reaction, first viewing reaction video, Universal's joint member review, and then my own personal review here, plus part 4 of this video series, which is reflecting on the Centenary Special. Now, it'll probably come out around the same time as the Universal's one after a second viewing, and then the main review on this channel will probably be a third viewing reaction, and then by that point I've got my solidified opinions on the episode. But that's how this is going to work out. So ladies and gentlemen, please sit back and relax as I reflect on Doctor Who, the Jodie Whittaker era. Bugger! I need new batteries. Okay, so before this video ends, like I mentioned, we're going to quickly cover Twice Upon a Time as well before we jump into the main era in the next video, starting with Series 11. So, first of all, Twice Upon a Time. So, Jodie Whittaker briefly appears at the end of this episode when Peter Capaldi regenerates into her. Previously, this actually was supposed to appear at the end of Series 10 in the episode of The Doctor Falls, and that in The World Enough in Time in The Doctor Falls is still the latest, greatest pair of episodes to air, even though there are a couple in Jodie's era that I also really love, but that's the latest, best story to air. And Twice Upon a Time is the latest, worst story to air. As bad as there have been some episodes in the Jodie era, Twice Upon a Time is the latest, worst episode to air. Yeah, but basically, because Chris Chibnall did not want to start with Christmas Special, he wanted to start with episode 1 of Series 11, which makes a lot of sense. Outside of celebratory events, many of us would probably just want to start with episode 1 of the first series, as opposed to a Christmas Special. So I can see where Chris Chibnall was coming with that. And Stephen Moffat wanted to make sure there was a Christmas Special this year so that the Doctor Who would keep its festive slot. And whilst Chibnall kind of mixes that up with the New Year specials afterwards, it's good that we at least keep the festive slot, at least. Well, I'm not sure about what's going to happen this year with 2022 into 23, but we'll see how it goes. We might have to take a year off, sadly, by the looks of it, and the next one will be 23 Christmas, 24 New Year. We'll see. That's a shame. But yeah, Stephen Moffat wanted to keep the Christmas Special slot, so he quickly wrote up an epilogue story to his Series 10 finale, Twice Upon a Time, which also serves as a multi-Doctor story set just before the very end of the 10th planet for the first Doctor, and the 2 Doctors 1 and 12 team up to basically, well, let's just say fuck around, because that pretty much sums up the plot. The 1st and 12th Doctors meet up and they just fuck around. That's pretty, I mean, yeah, that's not exactly what happens, but it's pretty much it's the summary. 12 and 1 meet up and they just do stuff. Not even that interesting stuff, to be honest. Twice Upon a Time doesn't need to exist. You know what would have been a good 2017 Christmas and 2018 New Year special? Sharda! Air Sharda! They animated the missing scenes and released it on DVD and Blu-ray in December 2017. Just splits that movie-length version of the story in 2 and just air 2 75-ish minutes on Christmas and New Year's Day. There you go, covered. And it means 2018 gets a festive episode on one of its festive days. And then we could go into the New Year specials without 2018 feeling left out. So, yeah, it would have been a good transition, but no, instead of doing that, which would have been the sensible thing, granted Moffat may not have known about that, but, instead of doing that, we got Twice Upon a Shitty Time. One of the worst regeneration episodes ever. It's not the worst, that award goes to Time and the Rani, but oh my god, this episode is absolute shit. Do check out my previous reviews, especially the revisitation review, for why it's so bad. But long story short, basically there isn't really much of a plot. And the First Doctor and the 12th Doctor just kind of meet up, and like I said, they do stuff. But not that much interesting stuff. Bill comes back, but it's not really Bill, and there's this captain who turns out to be the Brigadier's grandfather, as confirmed by actor Mark Gatiss, and the First Doctor's a rampant sexist for no reason other than, oh, he's from the 1960s. But the First Doctor was never like that, and that's probably the worst bit about this episode, is that the First Doctor is a rampant sexist for absolutely no reason, and he gets a lot of First Doctor lore wrong. Check out Josh Snare's video about this episode for all of the stuff that the First Doctor gets wrong. He's a big First Doctor fan. He covers the subject, probably the best out of any of us. At least any of the ones I've seen. But even from my perspective, because whilst I have seen every First Doctor episode, I'm not as well knowledge on him as some of the others. But I can definitely tell this is absolutely nothing like the First Doctor. David Bradley tries his best, but I don't know if it's the directing or the writing, or if he just isn't putting in as good of a performance as in Adventure in Space and Time when he was playing Hartnell, playing the First Doctor there. But something's off in this performance. I don't know what it is, and I feel like a combination of all three might be the reason why. And it just comes to an unsatisfactory performance. The script itself is very unsatisfactory, and it comes to an absolute. It's not good. Basically, it's not good. It's a mess of nothing, really. I mean, with many episodes in the Jodie Whittaker era we're going to be looking at will be messes, but this story is just an absolute mess of nothing really needed to be here. You could have ended with the Doctor falls, and you don't really need this. You just need the regeneration at the end of that, and then we're good for Series 11. Show Sharda in the meantime. But no, we got this. So yeah, what a great end to Capaldi's run. I'm not going to do full-on reviews for each episode because I've already done that. Like I said, even when I get to the Centenary specials or reflection video, I'll mainly have reviewed it a few times before, and we'll do again afterwards. So I'm not going to go into full-on reviews. I'm just going to talk about some of the episodes and my feelings on them. But suffice to say, Twice Upon a Time, absolute shit show. Not as bad as Hellbent. Hellbent's the worst of the modern series, but it's not good. It's pretty bad. And ends Capaldi's ear on a bit of a sour note when it could have ended on one of the greatest stories of the show, the Old Enough in Time and the Doctor Falls. The regeneration scene itself is also probably the weakest of the new series. Certainly got the weakest special effects, and I don't know what it is, but the regeneration effects in this series, at least certainly after Series 6, the regeneration effects seem to be getting worse. They looked great when they were the more minimalistic, glowy spectacle during the RTD era and the 11th Doctor's era, but after the 11th Doctor's run, the effects seem to be getting worse. It wasn't so bad in Lie of the Land, or which is familiar when we see a bit of the regeneration energy, but here and in Jodie's era, it looks really bad, and I don't know why the regeneration effect is getting worse, which is one of the things I'm not so looking forward to the Centenary special, is that regeneration effect. It looks too CG, whilst the previous ones worked pretty well as a pretty good visual effect. Here, the regeneration effects look really bad. The speech also goes on a bit too long as well. Some of it's quite nice, but there's odd references to the pairs, the pairs deleted scene from Human Nature, and also Capaldi wanting to include a bit about children hearing the Doctor's name. The speech just goes on a bit too long, but Capaldi sells it really well, and the music Shepherd's Boy from Heaven Sent is beautiful, and the camera shots and editing do work pretty well. It's also a good thing Chibnall decided not to address the fact the Doctor was a woman straight away. She just says, "Oh, brilliant," when she sees what she's looked like, she probably knows that she's now changed, but she's not really gonna be like, oh, I'm a woman now, huzzah, or something. It's just, oh, brilliant, neat, nice bit of a change here. Okay, moving on. And then the TARDIS explodes, because Chris Chibnall wanted to have the Doctor look for her TARDIS for 2 episodes. Okay. And then the Doctor is kind of thrown out the TARDIS as it explodes and decides to change its appearance into the TARDIS we'll see for the 13th Doctor's era, thus leaving us on a cliffhanger for just over 10 months, for about a year. Well, nine and a bit. Because going from the start, because it's start of October, so start of January, and then maybe another week or 2. So yeah, about 9.5 months, which is one of the shorter gaps between episodes in this era that isn't week to week. So overall, the 13th Doctor's first scene in Twice Upon a Time is alright. I mean, if you give it a better regeneration effect and the speech is cut down a little bit, it works as a pretty great scene, but as it stands, it's not that great. But as we move into the Jodie Whittaker era, we look forward to seeing how the 13th Doctor will react in a new body. I'll see you guys next time for part 1 of this video mini-series, where I reflect on Series 11 and Resolution. Until then, goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the Nicholas Payne YouTube channel. So, basically, this is just to build up in. So, this is how, as mentioned, part 0 is the introduction, part 1, series 11, part 2, series 12, part 3, Flux and / series 13, and the first 2 special, part 2, Revolution of, possibly a part 5 covering the, and if I up, plus the part 4 of this. So, ladies and gentlemen, please sit back and enjoy my reaction. Along with the Doctor. I think many of us would want to start with episode 1 of our own first series, or in Russell T Davies' case, is the trio of centenary specials. Well, Russell T Davies is starting with a trio of specials for the 60th anniversary, but that's more due to the date alignments rather than anything else. But yeah, I think outside of anniversary specials or centenary specials, or other celebrationary event, but outside, certainly after the 11th Doctor's fake-out regeneration, and I do agree with. I also do think we are overusing the glowy regeneration effect a bit too much now, but I think maybe it just has to be toned down a bit, and it probably would be a bit better. But eventually, it just goes on a bit too long, and when then combined with that, it just, despite a dodgy visual effect, the transition does move in. And despite a dodgy visual effect, the transition to Jodie Whittaker works pretty well, and the visuals and editing. Surprisingly, Chibnall decided to have which is probably the shortest gap between. So overall, the 13th